importing customers. So the only thing you really need to know about importing customers is the name or the company name is limited to 100 characters. In QuickBooks Desktop, it used to be limited to 41 characters. So it's kind of relevant to know the limitations. When you go from desktop to online, you're only going to bring 41 characters. But if you're importing into QuickBooks Online directly, you can do up to 100 characters. Now, the other important things to mention on importing customers, and we'll do a sample of that, is sub-customers can be imported. QuickBooks allows you to import sub-customers, but projects cannot be imported. However, if you import sub-customers, you can then convert them into projects. Now, if you bring in a beginning balance of a customer, that beginning balance can be created, but only when you import. So it cannot be added or modified after the fact. And then there's a field called date. And date means if there's an opening balance, as of what date. Let's do that with an example. We know exactly what we're talking about. So let's go to the gear menu. Let's go to import data. Let's go to customer. Let's download that sample file. Okay, there's my sample file. So I'll delete that. All the fields are preset: name, company name, customer type, email. All the fields are already preset. Notice that these have opening balance and an opening balance date. So I'm just going to put here 12/31/2018. So I'm going to use the same opening balance date for all of them. Okay, so date means opening balance date. That's what it means. As of what date I'm going to push an opening balance. You don't have to use an opening balance when dealing with importing customers, but that's important for you to know that that's in there. So let me save this in the desktop. Perfect. Now let's bring it into QuickBooks Online. So I'll click on Browse. I'll select the file. Click Open. Click on Next. All the fields are pre-mapped because I'm using the template. Again, if you were using some random spreadsheet someone gave you, you have to sit there and map everything yourself. Then I'll click on Next. Here's a preview of everything. Okay, that's a new for me. Date must be YY. Geez. Come on, QuickBooks. Are you kidding me? All right. So if anybody from the Intuit development team is looking at this, this is horrible. Like, why would you even do this? But anyway, I'll fix it. It's okay. Thank God I know how to use Excel pretty well. But either way, that's a shame. All right. So let's go into Excel. And let's fix the dates. So 2018-12-31. Okay, let me save that. By the way, Intuit team, if you want to hire someone that could slap some sense into your importing tools, I'm available. I'll tell you exactly what's wrong with it. So I'm going to click on Next. And there it is. So now it worked. Okay. Then I'll click on Import. Okay. And then all my customers are there. So if I go into Sales, Customer, I'm going to see now the customers. And notice that these customers all have balances in them. So these are all opening balances. So if I open any of these customers, let me open this one, Aaron. Notice that opening balances are created as an invoice. Okay, and they're automatically created by QuickBooks as an invoice. They hit the default item called sales. And in the description, it says opening balance. So later on in the future, if you want to detail these or split them up into multiple invoices, you can do that manually. But that's how opening balances come in. They come in as one invoice as of that date with the note opening balance. Now, if I do a transaction journal to see what account is being affected by these import, basically it's affecting sales and accounts receivable. Okay, but that's as of the date of the import. So then you then would have to do a journal entry or something if you want different accounts to be affected. All right, so let's do importing a job or a sub-customer for that matter, and then we'll convert those into projects. So I got my spreadsheet up here. Let me zoom this in so it's a little bit easier to read. And then what I'll do is I'll delete all these customers, and I'm going to create sub-customers. So I'm going to take this Brian Tublin and call this one Project X, and then the next one will be Project Y. So I'm basically creating 2 projects or sub-customers under that customer. Okay, no need for any spaces or anything, just the name, colon, and then the name of the project. That's it. That's all we need. Name, colon, name of the project. No need to add any additional information there because it's all going to be under the customer. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. Then I'm going to go into gear menu, import, customers, browse, select the file here, open, then next. Mapping is done automatically, again, because I'm using their built-in template. And then if I go in here, I'm going to zoom out for a second so we can see. Notice that there's the name and as a column, the project right next to it. Okay, so that's good. Then I'm going to hit an import. Okay, and then import. Okay, so now I can go into customers, and then down here somewhere under Brian Tublin, there are my 2 sub-customers. These are not projects, these are sub-customers. So if I go into projects, I won't see them in here, right? There's no projects here, 0 projects. So when I import customers with sub-customers, they added this really cool tool called, do you organize sub-customers as projects? If so, you can convert them by clicking on this button. So it's awesome. So we click on that convert now button. Then it's going to give you a list of all your sub-customers. I can pick them all. Then I can choose whether the job is in progress or completed. I'm going to add them both to in progress. That way they get added to my active project list. And then I go to convert and continue. Go to projects. Beautiful. So my new sub-customers are there as projects. When I go back into my customer center, I still see them in there. Actually, I won't see them in there anymore because they're not sub-customers. So once I click on the customer itself, I won't see it in the first page. I actually have to click on projects to see them in the project. So they were converted from sub-customers to project. Depending on what you're doing, on what you're trying to achieve, maybe you want to leave them as sub-customers. Maybe you don't. That's going to be up to you on how you want to manage that. All right. So that's customers, beginning balances, and sub-customers. We actually covered a lot of ground there. So let's talk about importing vendors.